Dogs. Man's best friend. Your furry little buddy, always excited to see you, always ready to play fetch, and always loyal. They really are pretty awesome creatures, but let's be honest here, they can also be pretty challenging to work with if you happen to be a movie director. So the prospect of a horror movie where a dog is literally the protagonist seems like one of those ideas that you'd come up with in the middle of a late night drinking session with your mates, and then quickly abandon the moment you realise the practicalities involved. And yet, that's exactly what director Ben Leonberg did with Good Boy, a supernatural horror flick told from the perspective of a doggo named Indy, trying to protect its owner from a dark presence that haunts the isolated cabin they're living in. And here's the funny thing. It's really fucking good, combining a novel premise with good tension building, some nice creepy direction, and incredibly expressive acting from an animal that I think might be more talented than half the people actually working in Hollywood today.
You're putting yourself and everyone else in grave danger. I need you to give me the stone.
To deliver a movie that's not just a spooky haunted house story, but a thoughtful and sensitive exploration of love, loyalty, companionship, and loss. The movie picks up with Indy and his owner Todd, who's suffering from lung cancer and decides to relocate to his late grandfather's cabin out in the woods against the advice of his sister, who believes that something sinister happened to him and his own dog Bandit. And pretty soon you get the impression that all is not well in Todd's new home. Indy starts seeing a dark figure roaming the house and woodland at night. He has nightmares about the fate of Bandit, and as Todd's mental and physical condition gets worse, it seems like something in the house is trying to literally consume him. But what exactly does it want? Is it connected to the death of Todd's grandfather? And can Indy be the ultimate good boy and save his master against all the odds? Now, you might think the idea of having a dog as the protagonist of your horror movie runs into a brick wall of reality pretty quickly once you realise that dogs can't really express complex emotions on command like human actors. How exactly do you raise the fear and tension when you're working with an animal that thinks the whole thing is just a big fun game? Well, in this case, you put in a shit ton of time and effort. Apparently, the director used his own pet dog to play Indy and worked intensely with him to get the performance he needed in a shoot that lasted 400 days.
Are you serious?
See, stuff like this is why I love independent filmmaking. Where else would you see someone pour more than a year of their life into a project like this? I mean, if it was made by any kind of mainstream studio, the dog would be some CGI abomination that they shoved in later in post. And yes, I'm looking at you, James Gunn. I don't fully understand how he did it, but this animal is able to emote better than a lot of actual human actors, so that you perfectly understand its thought process and emotional state without a single word of dialogue. As with most movies of its kind, Good Boy uses its creature effects and monster reveals sparingly, which is exactly what it should do. It's a monster that only Indy can see for most of the film, playing on that weird thing dogs do sometimes where they'll watch some obscure corner of the room like they detect something that you can't see, and even then, it's only half glimpsed in shadows and doorways most of the time. Just some dark, vaguely humanoid presence stalking Todd and Indy. And given what happens at the climax of the film, its true nature and even its physical reality is kind of open to interpretation. Speaking of that ending, I'm not going to spoil it here except to say that it packs an emotional punch way beyond anything you'd expect from a horror film like this, and kind of recontextualizes the whole film from a simple haunted house story with a quirky POV to a deeper and more thoughtful meditation on the bond between animals and their owners, the pain of loss and separation, and the simple but powerful and unconditional love of man's best friends. Good Boy is a fucking great little movie that tells its story in well under 80 minutes and never outstays its welcome, a nicely spooky horror film, and a timely reminder that we really don't deserve dogs. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.